Hello everybody. I'm very excited because if you've been following my weekly vlogs, I've been working on my arm tone, muscle tone, with a machine called Emsculpt. And this has been gifted to me 4 sessions to try and deal with lack of muscle tone, basically laziness. I've been very lazy, not doing yoga for the past year. My whole exercise schedule has been on, off, and mainly off. So Emsculpt is this extraordinary machine. I had it on my stomach, I think a year ago, and for once I had a flat stomach. I've now been offered it on my arms, and so many of you are questioning, how long does it last? Is there any downtime? How much does it cost? So I thought I would get Dr TRACY Mountford from the COSMETIC Skin Clinic to tell us all about it, because I actually think it was her that introduced it into London, or one of the people that introduced it into London. So I'm going to talk to her on a Zoom call. How nostalgic is that? Sit back and enjoy, and I hope I'm asking all the right questions. Dr. TRACY Mountford, I think I have wanted to chat to you for about 5 years, so this is an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Jo. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, now I'm sitting, it's taken me all morning to decide what to wear and how to sit, because it's the perfect silhouette for what we're going to talk about, which is Emsculpt. And my subscribers and my fans and my viewers have been with me on this journey. So the clinic is just around the corner from where I live, and I was lucky enough to be gifted sessions on my stomach before we went into lockdown. And for the first time in my whole adult life, I have a flat stomach. But I'm ashamed to say, Tracy, I don't know about you, but my exercise routine during the pandemic just went. I mean, I'm known for doing yoga. All of that went out the window. And my arms, that I was quite proud of as a 66-year-old, started, every time I waved goodbye, to flap all over the place. And Magda, the glorious Magda, who my viewers know, said to me, Jo, you need to have some Emsculpt on your arms. So I filmed it in my last vlog, and there were so many comments asking, how does this work? Where do I go? How much does it cost? All these questions. I thought the best thing to do, Tracy, is, because for me, you are the goddess that brought this into this city, I would ask you, first of all, to explain to everybody. So first question, what is Emsculpt?
Emsculpt is probably the most exciting technology to hit the market in a very long time, Jo. And why that is that it combines 2 things very cleverly. It combines high intensity focused electromagnetic energy. That's what that HIFEM bit stands for. So it's electromagnetic energy with radio frequency. And what does that mean? The electromagnetic energy is very clever, because what it will do, Jo, is something that we can't even do at the gym. When we go to the gym, and by the way, great that we do, and we should continue with that. But when we exercise, Jo, we only exercise or recruit about 35% of what we call the myofibrils in the muscle, even if we intensively work out. Whereas with HIFEM, which is in Emsculpt Neo, it recruits 100% of those myofibrils. So you get much more intense, much more effective muscle mass increase. So what Emsculpt Neo does is what we call, as medical people, hypertrophy the muscle. It bulks the muscle up where we want it to. And it also has a very clever combination of radio frequency, which, depending on how we set the machine, can reduce fat as well if we want it to, or in areas where we don't want to reduce fat, and there are people who are very, very lean and don't want to reduce any fat, we can just set the system just to increase the muscle mass. So by being a very clever piece of kit, which is FDA approved. It's all cleared. It's all got all the clinical papers and peer review papers to prove it works. It sounds too good to be true, I know, Joe, but it actually does work. You get this sustained muscle mass increase, and if we want to, fat reduction as well. Really clever.
I'm just going to show people, I have on my arms only had one session. Now, all of you saw what it was like when I was waving to Magda before. But if you look at what I love, is this is happening, which is what I love. So it is, as you say, it's working on these different sets of muscles.
Yeah.
Who then would be the perfect, is there a perfect candidate? Or would this work for every body shape?
I was asked this yesterday at a conference I was giving. It's a brilliant question. So in answer to that, there are 9 areas on the body you can treat with Emsculpt Neo. And basically, in a nutshell, upper and outer arms, the whole circumference of the thigh, inner and outer, front and back of the thigh, abs, butt, calves. So it can treat lots of areas on different people. Now, who can it treat? Well, interestingly, it can treat pretty much any body type. Now, I have to caveat that with some common sense too. We can't overpromise and underdeliver. You know, we're not going to take someone with a very high body mass index who should be trying to, make some significant lifestyle changes before we can help them. So we have to be reasonable. But actually, you can treat all kinds of people. You can treat people who are pretty lean and actually probably potentially underweight if they just want to increase their sort of tone. We've seen plenty of people who actually almost call themselves scrawny or too skinny, who want to sort of look stronger and healthier and well. Or you can actually treat people all the way through up to people perhaps who have visceral fat, people who've got, quite a lot of fat, but want to get more muscle tone and want to start the process and kickstart their process also of losing weight and a healthy lifestyle. So actually, interestingly, Joe, you can treat a lot of areas on the body, depending on what someone wants or needs, but you can actually treat the more skinny candidate, I hate that word, the leaner candidate by increasing muscle mass. You can treat all the way through what I would call your average person that comes through the door, men and women equally, reduce the fat on the tummy, increase the arm contours, increase the thighs, and then go on to the higher BMIs if we just want to improve core strength, get people going on a routine. So actually, it's hugely broad as a treatment.
And that, I think that's important. So I've been booked to have 4 sessions. I've already seen, I know because I've used it on my stomach, so I know how effective it is on my body. But I've already started to see muscle tone already. 4 sessions, is that the usual course?
Yeah. All the clinical studies show very significant results on this. So the magic 4 is because in the clinical trialing, they saw the muscle mass really increase, consistently at up to 4. And the fat reduction reduced consistently up to 4. After then, depending on the person, the size, the physiology, you do get sort of little incremental increases up to about 6 treatments. And everyone, as you know, is different. So the magic 4 is correct. And for most people, that's done and dusted, and it's very clear it's worked. Sometimes we will go on to do up to 6. After then, there's pretty much no evidence that any more will have any greater benefit. So not only would that be cost prohibitive, but just simply wrong of us to encourage that.
Absolutely. So can we talk about cost? Because one of my comments underneath was, this is expensive, Joe. Now, everybody knows I don't come from a wealthy background. It's what I prioritise in my life. And you've talked a great deal, and I really encourage people to go on to Tracy's channels and she talks about the morals of non-invasive and what we want to, invest in ourselves. It's a really interesting subject. So, for a lot of people, you need to save up for this. Some people may have this as disposable income, who knows? It is comparatively expensive. But what I like about it is, and this is what happened with my stomach, is when you exercise and you start to see the benefits, you then start to get back into that rhythm of exercising and trying to keep yourself in the shape that you've become. And that's what I love about it, because it does encourage you then to really take care of your body. So So yes, it comes at a price, but it is something, muscles have memory, so you will continue to benefit from it. Would you say that?
No, that's true. So I'm going to get to absolute nitty gritty of it. I never skirt around it. It is expensive, Joe, yes. And I think the reality is, somebody once asked me, one of the journalists, do you believe, Tracy, you get what you pay for in this industry? And I think generally the answer to that is yes. I think generally the answer is yes. You must always be very, aware of what you're being treated with, whether there's any hard clinical evidence and whether it's safe and all of that stuff. But Emsculpt, Neo, is not cheap. And I'm going to be very frank about it. To do a full course, somebody would probably be spending in the order of £3,000. That's hugely expensive. Nobody's trying to pretty that up. It is what it is. But there is no doubt, again, we were talking about this yesterday to my peers. The interesting thing is exactly what you said, which is it's not like when you go to the gym and you stop working out. We know we have muscle memory, but pretty quickly, and I know what I feel like, and if I stop going to the gym within sort of a couple of weeks, that my God, I look like I'm almost back to the way pre-exercise. With Emsculpt Neo, it seems to be a much more sustained result. So most people only need to, if they need it at all, seem to only need sort of maintenance treatments, perhaps every 9 months or so. And that's very broad. That's very, very broad, by the way. So 6 to 9 months. But what we found is that people get themselves going, get their muscles in good tone, and then they go on to, as you said, lifestyle changes or maintain the level of exercise, just keep all the muscles working. Actually, you can realistically maintain that muscle tone long term. And the other thing about Emsculpt Neo, which there's quite a bit of data, is that it's also it has positive health benefits in terms of improving core strength if we have it done on the abs. And a lot of our patients have it done on the glutes and on the butt, not just to have a perkier butt, but to actually help stabilize the hip. As you know, the glutes is the biggest muscle in the body. And a lot of people with hip pain, back pain, lower back pain, as long as they don't know there's nothing sinister going on, as long as they've been health checked and they know it's just simply due to musculoskeletal problems, we found anecdotally that people are finding, because their core's getting stronger, their glutes can get stronger, they're actually, not only is their posture better, but they actually start to feel that, they're addressing their hip and back pain, or it's helping that. So I would agree. I think it's a health treatment as well as an aesthetic treatment, but it is an investment. People have got to really want to invest in that.
It is, and all of you know how much I love my clothes, and items like this I was putting in the back of the wardrobe because I just thought, I can't show my arms. I've got all these lovely dresses, so yeah, I'm bringing them all out and not buying new stuff with sleeves. So again, it's what you balance, what your priorities are.
Absolutely.
I'm going to leave the link below to the clinic and all the details, and to Tracy as well below this vlog. But I want to ask you this, Tracy. You're preaching to the converted. I'm 66. My mother never had all of, she was never shown all of this. They had no choices, But I've also come through the age, I live in Marylebone, so forgive me for saying this, I see a lot of bad cosmetic surgery. You can't say this, but I can say it, Tracy, because I am a client, of clinics, not invasive surgery, ever. But you can see what there was before this. You can see before your treatments, women would opt for a full facelift, and you now have so much choice of non-invasive. I've had Profilo. There is so much I've had which isn't going to make me look like some strange person that's attempting to look younger. It just helps me with my mental health, truly, because I feel better. I do a lot of vlogging. It makes me look better, and I have literally no guilt for saying this. I celebrate the fact that someone like yourself has put enough investment into it that we are being offered all of these. And I don't know where you sit on this, because you must be questioned constantly morally about treatments for women, and now for men as well, thank heavens.
It's something I feel very strongly about, Joe, actually, and you'll be lucky because you haven't got 3 hours for me to bore you senseless on this one. I feel really strongly about this. I absolutely do, totally. I think everybody should live the life they want to. If people want to look, grow old gracefully, I hate that expression, great for them. I have never, ever, encouraged on people who don't want to embrace, this kind of work. I've said, fine, that's great. People are comfortable in their own skin. But I feel very, very strongly about people who do want to invest in this kind of thing, that's their choice and they shouldn't be bashed for that. And I do not like people taking a moral high ground on this and saying, people shouldn't have this work, they should be. Do you know, most of the people we see at our clinic, I've been in this industry 30 years, Joe. I grew with it as it grew. And I have met the most interesting, most wonderful people who have, Joe, become friends at the clinic. And I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear that they're not. The people we treat, by and large, are not these vacuous people who are constantly looking in the mirror for every line and wrinkle. Far from it. These people are people who may have got busy jobs, busy lives, balanced, wide, broad lives. Some of these people have got people who've tragically died. They're the stories these people tell us. You wouldn't believe. And they come to us because they trust us, because they want to look the best they can. They want to, much like they colour their hair or do their exercise, or they want to look the best they can. It empowers them. It's hugely empowering, and they just feel better. So what's wrong with that? And there's been, again, a lot of studies on this with, say, muscle relaxants on foreheads. And they actually did a clinical study in a psychiatric journal about how it actually showed that it made people suffer. Having treatment in the brow stopped people constantly frowning and actually had a positive impact on their mental well-being. So there is a lot that people don't understand about cosmetic medicine. I think if you don't want to do it, fine. But those that do, how lucky we are to be in this time now where we can do so much non-surgically. And if we've got it there, those who can afford it and want to do it, embrace it. But I do agree, Joe, that it's all about how it's done. It's about keeping things in balance. It's about keeping things age appropriate. And as you know, I've always really have banged the drum for natural, understated, balanced, age appropriate treatment. And that's what I believe. Excellent.
Absolutely. It is interesting exactly what you said. When I go into your clinic a lot, and you just see natural looking faces. You see really natural looking faces. But you also made a really interesting point that grief can age you, and you've hit upon something which I'd like to do more on, actually, that grief can really take its toll on a body, and we've seen that over the past year. And again, it's what you prioritize. But if you can help your self-image because it helps you mentally to feel better, I think it's really important that you say that. Can I ask you finally, because you are a trailblazer, I've watched everything you've ever filmed. I've watched you with Alice Hart Davis, all these people that are friends of mine, actually, and you were there here in Marylebone, and offering all these treatments long before others. So can I ask you, of all the treatments that have come out in your lifetime, including Emsculpt, what is the one that for you has been the greatest leap forward, do you think, for women and men?
I think the one that really was a game changer in the marketplace across the globe, and for us particularly, was COSMETIC, actually. I've seen amazing things come into the market. I've seen rubbish too that we haven't even embraced. But I think there were three things: all therapy, COSMETIC, and Emsculpt Neo. But I have to say, if I had to choose one, you asked me for one, I'd say COSMETIC, because if someone had told me 15 years ago there is a non-surgical way of effectively removing fat from the body and it won't come back, and you don't need a scalpel and you don't need a liposuction hoover to get it, I would have said absolute nonsense. What absolute rubbish that is. But actually, the non-surgical, the COSMETIC has revolutionised the way we treat bodies, double chins, men and women alike. It's been a game changer, hugely.
As you say that, I can imagine all my followers are now Googling like anything. In fact, I will tell everyone watching, there's a very well-known female broadcaster who's actually a friend of mine, who benefited from that at Tracy's clinic. She works on Radio 4. I'll say no more, but you can all Google away and you can guess who it is. Tracy, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me on Middle Age Minx. I've wanted to speak to you for ages, and also thank you for gifting a new pair of arms.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the journey, Jo, and as you know, as you work with Maddie, you'll see it gets better and better. Thank you. It's been really great, and I've watched your things. They're really great and empowering, and I think we just love, it's great. We just love to talk about these things. The more education there is, the more people will make the right choices for them.
Promise me you'll come back on.
I'd love to. Thank you so much, Jo.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you.
See you soon. Bye-bye.